Your Detroit Red Wings, helmed by the great, all-time great coach of Derek Lalonde. I have to congratulate them. Last night, they did something that I don't think anybody expected them to do. They won a hockey game. They did it. We did it, guys. We won a hockey game in the month of December. We did it. Didn't win for, the first week, but we did it now. Better late than never. Maybe. Hopefully. So, what you might think is I might be saying, okay, this is where we're going to turn it on. We Sebastian Cossa plays a pretty good game overall. Obviously, he comes in and the game was 3-2. So he only gave up the 2 goals throughout the rest of the game, and he won a shootout. He didn't win. He could have, if he got one more stop, he would have won the shootout entirely. But Dylan Larkin had to bail him out there a little bit. But here's what I'll say about this. This team, if I just go on the defensive side and on the forward side, I got to tell you something. The forwards, offensively, you have Lucas Raymond, Dylan Larkin, Alex DeBrincat. That is it. That is it. You want to know who the next forward with points or with the most points on the team is? If you guess Patrick Kane, you would be wrong. It's one Vladimir Tarasenko, who has just a lights out total of 4 goals on the year and 12 total points. Your forward room is 3 guys, and I'm pretty sure all of them play on the top line. I don't actually know that for sure, but I'm pretty sure they do. That's not good. It's certainly not good enough 5 years into a rebuild, Steve Yzerman. Now, maybe you're thinking, well, maybe it's the defense. All right, maybe we got some defenders that are both point getters and positive players on the ice. All right, you got Mo Seider, very good defenseman, hard hitter, tough, can score when if possible. He's usually there on assists. Right, pretty good passer. +4 player on the ice. If you take plus minus to mean much of anything. Simon Edvinsson, also good player. Another similar to Seider in that he's kind of slowly developing. He's a little bit, he's a little behind Seider, which makes sense. Just only a couple of years here. First full year in the NHL. +7 player though on the ice. Again, if you take that to mean anything. Do you want to know who their next best defenseman is? In terms of points, at least. Oh, you're not gonna like the answer. Let me tell you, you're not gonna like the answer. If you guessed Eric Gustafsson, you would be correct. There's only one little baby teeny weeny problem. Eric Gustafsson has played just 20 games. Now, I'm not a mathematician, but if the Red Wings record, for example, if the Red Wings record were, let's just say, I don't know, 11, 13, and 4. Now, if you were to add those numbers together, would you get a number that is greater than or less than? Or greater than or equal to 20. I'll do the math for you. You would get a total of 28, which is greater than 20. So basically, in terms of points, your third best defenseman has played 8 less games than you've played total. Now, I understand that your D-men, your defensemen, are not primarily getting you a lot of points. But the fact that the next best guy in points for your defenseman is a dead body defenseman that everybody universally pans as one of the, worst offseason additions for Steve Yzerman this offseason. It's not good, all right? It's really not good. It also doesn't help that he's a -6 player on the ice. So even when he's not scoring, he's usually giving up scoring opportunities in some way, shape, or form. All of this is to say, you have a team of basically 5 total guys. So roughly speaking, 1 good line. And we are how many years into Steve Yzerman's rebuild? Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, actually, yes. 5. 5 years. This is year number 5. We are going to be, assuming he is still here, he will have his 6th draft come April. Or not come April. Come June. whenever the NHL draft is. Maybe July. I don't remember exactly when it is. Come the end of the season, he'll get his sixth draft class. And if I just go up and down the roster, you would think it would be filled to the brim with his draft picks. Let's count them down. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 guys. So basically, 1 a year. 5 years of drafting. 5 guys on your team. I guess technically 6 if you want to count Sebastian Costa. And I think you should because he was drafted by Steve Yzerman. You have 6 guys, one of them being a goalie, so obviously not playing every day. And even Albert Johansson, by the way, he's played just 14 games. And he's got 1 assist. So clearly not doing a whole lot for you. And then on the other end, Marco Kasper, who I do like and who could develop, he still got some time. He's only played 24 games as well. So of the contributors, like, Edvinsson, Seider, Raymond, that's pretty much all you got. Like, to me, and all those guys also, by the way, was his first pick of their respective drafts. It wasn't like he had one draft class where all of these guys are coming together. You're getting, the guys that, of course, are going to be up. And look, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe not even at the end of this year or maybe the start of next year, Nate Danielson is not on the team, right? Or, Amadeus Lombardi or even Axel Sandin Pellikka in the next couple of years. My point is, all right, this rebuild started in 2019. We are going to be, if we're talking about bringing like Axel Sandin Pellikka being the savior 2 years from now, we're talking about a rebuild that will have gone on for 7 years and maybe we'll be in the playoffs. It's funny when you look at the standings overall, like in the, not just in the conference, I guess, in the wild card. 3 teams that have been sort of intertwined in their rebuilds: Ottawa Senators, the Detroit Red Wings, and the Buffalo Sabres. Do you want to know how many points all 3 of these teams have? 26. All of them. 26 total points. Now, granted, Ottawa's played 1 less game than Buffalo and Detroit. And obviously these teams play each other. But the fact that all 3 of these rebuilding teams are below Columbus, below Philadelphia, below Pittsburgh, below the Islanders. Like, what are we doing in the NHL where basically teams are just allowed to rebuild forever? Like, what if I am a Red Wings fan, but if I'm a Buffalo Sabres fan or if I'm a Senators fan, I don't know what their particular circumstances are. I don't know what their GM situation is. I don't even know what their roster situation is. I don't know anything about them. But I would be pissed. I'd be like, okay, who is the GM and why is he still here? He's done nothing for us. The team has not gotten better. His draft picks have, not arrived. The development is slow. It's just not working out, right? You're 1 point ahead of the Montreal Canadiens. Like, that's usually not good when you're 1 point away from the worst team in the East. Like, but it's all the more worse when it's Steve Yzerman at the helm, when it's allegedly one of the best general managers in the league. Allegedly. I say this all allegedly because I'm sorry, I have no evidence to believe that he can successfully build a team from the bottom up. He had some talent to work with in Tampa Bay when he took that team over. Not that he didn't make any good moves. He made an amazing team. He made a lot of incredible moves. But if I'm simply looking at what he's done in Detroit, what singular thing that he did was so, like, knock the ball out of the park? Maybe drafting Mo Seider? Maybe trading for Alex DeBrincat? I can't think of, outside of Alex DeBrincat, I can't think of any signing or trade of a right now player that people immediately and fully are like, yes, this was a good move or a great move by Steve Yzerman. Because is there anybody praising the JT Compher signing? Nope. Is there anybody praising the Andrew Kopp signing? Nope. What about Ben Sherratt? Nope. What about Justin Hall? What about Jeff Petrie or even Michael Rasmussen in his 8 points in 24 or 27 games? Yeah, like who or Austin Watson? This was we need an enforcer, and he's played 2 games and he's gone. Yeah, so glad we brought him in. So glad he was brought into the mix. Like there really isn't any move that I can think of outside of trading for Alex DeBrincat, which was a good move, but not this like game-breaking move where Alex DeBrincat is suddenly, I was gonna say he's suddenly Steve Yzerman, but you know what I mean. He's suddenly the player Steve Yzerman. DeBrincat's a really fine player, but he's not top of the league. And if he's your best team, or if he's your best player on your team, you're probably not all that good. And like this is pretty much evident. He's your third best player in terms of points, or I guess tied with Larkin in goals and assists, and the team is spiraling out of control. Like we're a minus 15 goal differential team. That is tied for second or third worst in the Eastern Conference. Like it's also one of the worst in the league. And maybe not. It's not. I think it might be bottom 5. I'd have to really take a crunch of the numbers because meanwhile Nashville is not good. That's not good at all. But the other thing about this team is, of course, the coach. And look, I said this at the end of last year. Derek Lalonde does nothing for me. All right. I don't care that, it was early at that point. He needed to go. That collapse was of astronomical proportion. And some of the things that he was saying about, oh, well, we're just happy to be here. And, nobody thought we were going to be. It's like, dude, do you know how to motivate a team, or do you know how to like get as little out of them as possible? Like, apparently he knows the latter and not the former. And so, yeah, look, fire him. That's fine with me. You're really only delaying the inevitable. And especially for those of you who want this to work with Steve Yzerman, if you fire Derek Lalonde, well, Steve Yzerman doesn't get to hire a third coach. Or I guess technically a second. Or yeah, I guess it would be a third coach. So he needs to get it right. Or rather, Lalonde needs to figure out what it is that he was even brought here to do. And if he simply is incapable of being that guy for this team, then yes, of course he has to go. But that makes it one step away from Steve Yzerman also going. So for all the people who will religiously defend the Yzer plan and talk about, oh my gosh, did you see how bad team was in 2019? Yep, it's pretty bad. And you know what? It really hasn't gotten that much better. Show me why I'm wrong. Okay, great. You have some nice young players. You have Lucas Raymond. You have Mo Sider. Yes, that's better technically. But from a win-loss perspective, you're the third worst team in the Eastern Conference. So did we really get better, or did we just, have more characters to put on bobbleheads? That's pretty like that. Did we have more jerseys that we could sell? Because I don't think anybody wanted to get a Justin Abdelkader jersey. Or who was the other one? Oh my gosh. You know what? Now we're gonna look it up. Red Wings 2019 roster. Oh man, this is gonna be actually really brutal. Andreas Athanasiou. That's the one. That was who I was thinking of. I don't think there was a lot of Athanasiou jerseys getting sold. So, yeah. Maybe the Sebastian Cossa call up will do something for this team. I really hope it does. I was saying at the beginning of this year, I don't know why Sebastian Cossa is not on the NHL roster. And to the people who say like, no, he's too young. He's, for one, I think he's 23 years old. So, he's not, 18. He's 22 years old. He'll be 23 next year. So he is, I'm not saying he's, Marc-Andre Fleury, but I mean, you're losing games without him. You might as well lose games with him because he's got a heck of a lot more upside than Ville Husso or Alex Lyon. He's got much more of a future on this team than either of those guys. So I see no reason why he should not get more ice time in between the net there for the Red Wings, because I don't want to have to see guys that just have no future. It's like watching the Tigers. And it's funny that both teams are owned by the same guy. It's like, I don't want to watch players that have no future here. I would much rather a Marco Casper struggle or even an Albert Johansson or a Sebastian Cossa struggle than watch, the Joe Veleno and Jeff Petrie experience. Or Christian Fisher or Justin Hall. I'd rather see young players who have some upside struggle than old players who have no upside and no future, which is even worse potentially, struggle. So, yeah, it's not good for the Red Wings right now. And I don't think there's any way of getting around it. And yes, of course, you won your game. Fun, good. I'm so happy for you. But looking ahead here, you have Philadelphia on Thursday on the road. The team that, statistically speaking, in the standings is better than you, and will certainly be try to kit themselves into that wild card spot that they're only they're only 1 point out of getting. Then you got Toronto at home on Saturday night. Might as well just write that one off as a loss because Toronto is very good. And then you got Philadelphia again on national TV. Then you get a back-to-back with the Canadiens. If you can somehow get to that Canadiens back-to-back and you win 2 out of the 3 or get overtime losses in a couple of or 1 or 2 of those, maybe you can dig yourself out of this. One thing that has been consistent with this Red Wings team since around 2018, they do not play well in December. December is when they just careen down into the depths of the sea. And I have no reason to believe that this team will suddenly change that up. Hi, it's me again. If you enjoyed what you just saw, hit the like and subscribe button. We do live shows every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see you there.